Is the Big 12 changing its tiebreaker rule with only 2 weeks to go in the regular season? It sure seems that way. We'll discuss that and much more in today's video here on the Back to 12 podcast channel. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast channel. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. I see how many of y'all hit that notification bell. It's only about 5% of the followers on this channel. Let's get it up to 10. Okay, you're going to want to stay in the know on Texas Tech football all year long, and we're going to be giving you much more Big 12 content as well here on the channel and college football in general. So you're going to want to stay in the know right here on one of the most engaging Texas Tech and Big 12 communities here on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel. All right, let's jump right into this because this is super interesting, and we need to give a lay of the land first, okay? Here are the standings right now as it stands currently for the Big 12. And you see Texas at number 1 there. Really pay them no mind. They control their own destiny in terms of getting to Arlington. The next 4 teams, however, and really we're looking at the top 3 there in Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, and Kansas State, right? Those are the ones that we're really looking at. So remember that and how it goes right now in terms of, okay, there's probably going to be some tiebreakers there, right? Just common sense tells us, hey, there's only 2 weeks left. We've got 4 teams, really 3 at the top that can create some issues here. Okay, there's going to be a tiebreaker. All right, let's transition now to where we're at in terms of the multi-team tiebreaker. And now you can see this over on the Big 12 website. It says, let's start at the number 1, right? Let's just start there, okay? Head-to-head, best cumulative win percentage in games among the tied teams. If not, comma, every tied team has played each other, comma, go to step 2. So because every team hasn't played each other, not every tied team has got to go to step 2, right? Like, I mean, this is so poorly worded. And that's really where we start this controversy because the Big 12 almost seems like it's backtracking almost in a way because let's start with this Brett Trammell article and what he's saying in terms of, okay, this is kind of where we're at if the Big 12 was talking about this tiebreaker, okay? And we're going to give the lay of the land. As you can see now, we'll read through this Brett Trammell over on selloutcrowd.com. The policy in question concerned a potential 3-way tie with OU, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State, each winning out and finishing 7-2 in the league. Oklahoma State would have beaten both OU and K-State, which would seem to have solved the problem. But no, again, remember the wording issue that we had there, that one little freaking comma, right? Just kidding. There's a little bit more to it than that, but the comma definitely didn't help. But no, Oklahoma and Kansas State did not play this season, and the confusing wording in the tiebreaker required interpretation. Here's how the tiebreaker read for at least the 3 teams tied. We just went over it. Head-to-head, best cumulative winning percentage in games among the tied teams. If not, every tied team has played each other, comma, go to step 2. I think Trammell actually says it best here in the sense of who wrote the tiebreaker, a 4th grader? More on that gibberish later. And this is really where it comes in terms of the interesting aspect of this from the Big 12 perspective. You slide on down here, and this is where it gets interesting. Last week, Trammell says, I corresponded with the Big 12 source to get clarification on what the tiebreaker meant. Our exchange kept confusing me, but eventually I was told that Oklahoma and Kansas State did not play each other. Oklahoma's sweep of the Sooners and the Wildcats was nullified. Okay, seems silly. Again, I agree with this from the standpoint of they won the games on the field, but it's nullified. Anyway, whatever. We'll continue on here. Right. Then on Monday, this is where things get interesting and where you read the thumbnail. Did the Big 12 change rules during the middle of the season? It kind of feels that way because of the backtracking, gaslighting, whatever you want to call it, that they're about to do right here in this next paragraph. Then Monday, I was told by the Big 12 source that our Saturday communication caused further discussion in the conference office, leading to clarification, which is scheduled to be presented to the Big 12 athletic directors in a conference call on Wednesday. Now, this conference call is always there. They have conference calls on Wednesdays. This is a normal thing. But I guarantee you this wasn't on the agenda, right? Then the Big 12 rewrote its tiebreakers after Houston, Central Florida, BYU, and Cincinnati joined the conference in July. In the previous 12 season, the 10-team Big 12 round robin basically schedule helped streamline the tiebreakers, right? You played them. It's really simple, right? There's 9 other teams in your conference. You play them each once, regardless of if it's home or away. The tiebreakers kind of take care of itself, right? The tiebreaker confusion falls here. And this is where, again, just these little nuances in wording, right? Like, it's not hard. I heard somebody say, like, did they just write this in Chat GPT and not spell check it or, put it through Grammarly or anything? Like, it kind of almost feels that way. And the crazy part is this, like, I've been a proponent of this conference in the sense of, like, they've done little to nothing wrong, like, in the position that they've been in. Think about it, right? Like, they were the left for dead conference almost in a way. The Pac-12 is going to go and get this new TV deal. And then you have Brett Yormark come in and basically turn into Superman, right, for this conference in no uncertain terms and go get a TV deal, add some Pac-12 schools, basically help in the dismantling of the Pac-12 to create really right now 4 power conferences. And who knows how the ACC is going to unfold, but the Big 12 is in a good position to potentially land some of those schools, right? But this is where the tiebreaker confusion falls, and it's at the feet of Scott Draper, the Big 12's vice president for football. He was hired in September 2022. That doesn't really matter, right? He should have experience in these kind of matters, you would think. But, again, we're not done there. You got Brett McMurphy, and if you follow this channel, you know I like Brett McMurphy quite a bit. I understand that's hard to read for you guys a little bit, but I'll read it for you. The Big 12 title game tiebreaker update. If multiple Big 12 teams are tied and one team holds wins versus other teams in the tiebreaker, then that team wins the tiebreaker, sources told the Action Network. First reported by Barry Trammell, this may come into play with Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Iowa State, all 5 and 2, in league play. Big 12 ADs have a regularly scheduled call Wednesday and are all expected to restate intent of the tiebreaker. There's no change in our rules, sources said. Head-to-head results take precedence similar to industry standards. Why do you need to clarify it? Like, again, it's not one of those deals as I pull up the standings one more time so y'all can see those on the screen. Why do you have to go back and explain yourself if it's so clear, right? Again, you're not helping yourself here if you're the Big 12 in any kind of way, right? You shouldn't have to clarify this in any kind of way possible, but you're going to have to go back and do that. And now if you're looking at this from a point of view of, okay, this kind of looks a little shady, right? Like, I'll admit, Oklahoma State probably should hold the tiebreaker. And in fact, I think they should. Not probably, they should. They've beaten 2 of the teams up there. Good for them, right? But that's not what the wording says. And now they have to backtrack. Almost feels like they're gaslighting some of us in a way in terms of understanding these rules. Like, oh, no, you're making something up. You're reading something out of nothing or making something out of nothing, right? Like, no, you just worded this very poorly. And now you have to actually go to your, ADs and talk about this at your meeting on Wednesday. I think that there's something there. And again, it's one of those deals where it really does look like they're changing the rules mid-season in terms of what they have written, right? That's the thing. Do I agree with what they have written? Probably not. Like, again, Oklahoma State should have the tiebreakers because, again, they've beaten Oklahoma. They've beaten Kansas State. Right now, there's also the factor of the scheduling in terms of Oklahoma State arguably has the easiest schedule in the Big 12 this year. They get to face all 4 new teams, and they got to face Baylor. I mean, again, we didn't know Baylor was going to be this bad, but we figured the 4 new teams would be pretty bad coming into the conference, right? And so far, that's really been the case with UCF really carrying them in terms of their relevancy in the conference right now. And that's to be expected, making that jump. But again, having to clarify this, it's an awful look. I mean, it is an awful look in my opinion, but I want to hear from you guys. Let me know, do you think the Big 12 is changing the rules midseason? Just a simple Y for yes or in for no. I know there was a lot of confusing information there, so I'm actually going to post the Big 12 standing link, the tiebreaker link, the article from Trammell, and then also the Brett McMurphy tweet down in the comments below, as well as the description. So if you want to go read those things yourself and maybe be a little less confused, hopefully I helped with that. But man, there's a ton of controversy right now, even though it feels like there should be none. It's just, again, the verbiage of it, you have to clarify. And the Big 12 did it to themselves. And it's really surprising considering how this league has been damn near perfect in everything that it's done for going on almost 2 years now. But one more time, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's get to 10% of the subscribers here on the channel to have notifications on so you can stay in the know on Texas Tech football, men's basketball, all things Big 12 and college football's latest breaking news right here on the most engaging Big 12 community here on YouTube. Of course, I'm talking about the Back to 12 podcast channel.